Today I'm going to show you how you can make your very own Subway sandwich right in the comfort of your own home. Step one, you're going to take the piece of bread. We're going to make a footlong today. What you're going to want to do with your footlong here is cut the bread open, but you're not going to want to cut right down the middle nice and clean. You're going to want to start right at the base of the bread and cut kind of up and down in a little bit of a zigzag section. You see that, cameraman? Just kind of in a zigzag. You're going to want about half of your bites to be 2 inches of top bread and half of your bites to be about half a centimeter of top bread. Really change things up just like that. Also be sure not to cut all the way to the edge, but just halfway in. So then you have to use your meaty fingers to pry the bread apart, just like so. Look at that differentiation in thickness. This is about half a centimeter, that's about 2 inches. Perfect. Now, you're also going to want to make sure to penetrate a couple inches right in the middle, just like that. So when you add your condiments later on, they will inevitably seep through. Perfect. Now let's go on to the meat. The meat is very important in Subway, so we're going to go ahead and layer them right on. We're going to layer the meat right on the sandwich. Whoa! What's that? Oh, well, I'm sorry. I guess the meat was so incredibly thin that it blew right out of my hands. Well, no worries there. I guess we'll make this a steak sandwich. Now, a little known fact is that the Subway steak is not steak, but indeed it is Friskies cat food. Tastes just the same. Pop that cat food right open. Smells like Subway. And just go ahead, he's getting that camera guy right here, go ahead and layer that right on. Perfect. Now you're going to not want to go all the way to the edges. You're going to want to have about 2 inches on each side of a plain bread bite. Absolutely beautiful. Now it's time for the cheese, the mozzarella cheese. A little known secret is that Subway mozzarella cheese and all of its other cheeses are not cheese. Indeed, they're in fact a composite cardboard substance. So just cut up any U.S. postal box and you'll be set to go. Now you're going to want to go ahead and get this toasted. So you can just stick it in any consumer primary oven right here. But the most important part here is once you stick it in the toasting oven, like so, you're going to want to make sure that for the duration of the toast, you look up and to the left at a 45-degree angle, not making eye contact with the customer or house guests for any amount of time. So let's go ahead and start. Beep. Beep, beep, beep. All right, it's all done. Let's pull it out. Oh, look at her. She's all toasted and crisp. Now let's start adding the veggies here. Peel this open right slow. There we go. Look at that cat food right there. Now, an important base for your Subway sandwiches is delicious thick greens. What's a good thick green? Spinach. Now, a common misconception that a lot of consumers have is that you should have about 2 inches of spinach on a sandwich, when in reality, on your Subway sandwich, you'll want not 2 inches, but 2 pieces of spinach. There you go. That's what you get when you ask for spinach. Now, let's go ahead and add a little spice to this meal in terms of the jalapeno pepper. Now the jalapeno pepper is very special, very important, but you're not going to want to use any of the 7 inches of the meat of the pepper. You're going to want to use exclusively the really difficult to chew hard and wooden stems. That's going to be the primary source of your pepper. So let's just stick those in. Again, leave 2 spaces at the end for just some nice bready bites. Now, let's go ahead and add the most important part of a Subway sandwich, the lettuce. Your goal as a Subway employee or an employee at home is to make sure that about 80% of the sandwich you create is in fact wet lettuce. So you're just going to take this real nice and slow, just the right amount of lettuce. Look at that. There you go. That's a Subway sandwich if I've ever seen one. Now, last but not least, you're going to want to go ahead and add your condiments. Your mayonnaise, in this case, big old American condiment. Now, before you start sticking it on, you're going to want to take your mayo and you're going to want to smack the ever-living life out of it about 6 times right on the counter. So let's do it just like so. All right, it's ready to be put down nice and easy, but you're not going to want to spread it nice and evenly across your sandwich. You're going to want to go ahead and take one single thin strip and lay it down right along the crease of the sandwich, like so. not to the edges, just one tiny, tiny thin strip right along the middle of the bread, just like so. Look at that, we got a little collateral damage here. Now comes time to fold it. You're going to want to turn it around just like so, and let the customer really watch as you struggle to push all this in. Now is when it's really appropriate to let about 40% of the lettuce and ingredients to just spill out the front like so. Make sure to tear the top of the bread just like this to result in an infuriating sandwich experience. Now you're going to take out your knife right here, nice and sharp, and now you're going to render this foot-long sandwich not into two 6-inch subs, but into about a 9-inch sub and a 3-inch sub. So here's about right where we're going to cut through the sandwich. Looks like we got a little piece of post office cheese popping out here. All right, we're just about done. Now you're ready to stick your piece of paper down, put your sandwich right inside, and look at that. Voila! Camera guy, get a peek at this. You've made your very own homemade Subway sandwich. Thanks so much for joining us again.